Hey guys, Gina here. I hope your week has been great chasing your sunsets. Today is I'm inside filming, which I'm having to kind of find a quiet corner in the house because we have everyone here right this weekend. But it's been raining all day, and so I couldn't just be outside, which I always like that because it's just fresh air, sunshine, birds tweeting in the background. But um, I wanted to talk to you today about being overwhelmed because I kind of hit my wall yesterday and was just like, I can't do this anymore. Between work and school and momming and adulting and everything else, I just had all my to-do lists were just piling on top of me, and it was just a moment of like, ah, and I had to stop and literally just stop. And I froze. I literally, I was in the kitchen and I just froze in my spot. And I had to kind of walk myself off that wall a little bit because I've been in that situation before. And so I know how to handle it, but sometimes we forget. So, here's the thing. Life is always throwing you something. So, like, here's a good example. My 3-year-old, she's lived through, 2, 3 severe thunderstorms. Okay. The first one kind of really freaked her out. The second one, still. The third one, she got a little bit better. But, she started to learn that it's what it is and how to cope through it. And, even if there's like just all of a sudden a loud boom, I'll kind of just jump or something anyway. I mean, it kind of will startle anybody, even if you've lived through 1,000 thunderstorms. But, as you go through a situation, you know how to handle the situation. And so, that's, I kind of find it interesting that our pandemic happened in the year 2020, because if you've ever heard the cliche, hindsight is 2020, to me, that's just kind of like, because I've never lived through a pandemic before. And, and I really hope I don't have to live through another one, especially the, hunting down, trying to find toilet paper for the household. That, and that was our biggest problem. Fortunately, everyone in our household was healthy. We didn't have any issues. I do have several friends that got sick, and some of them are still struggling with the after effects of it even months later. So, but, our biggest problem was not knowing what to do, what to expect, how to handle it, and going from there. But because as you do something, you get trained. As you go through an experience, you get trained. And I heard a psychologist talking about children and developing, and he was talking about how he would rather his children go through bullying when he's able to have that conversation with them all the time, every day after the fact, and he can walk them through it and teach them how to cope with it, instead of their first time being when they're 7 hours away at college, or 8 hours away at their first job, or something of that nature. And it's true, because the more experience you have with something, the more you can cope with it and deal with it. If you've never been divorced before, then you don't know what it feels like. If you've never had a child before, you don't know what that feels like. If you've never, lost a loved one, you don't know what that feels like. And, whereas I don't wish, the child part, that's pretty cool. You could do that, but I don't really wish the divorce on anybody or losing a loved one. But more than likely, most of you watching this have experienced some sort of life-altering event, and you've gained some experience from that and training from that. And so you get that hindsight is 2020 thing. As you go through the next life-changing event, you're like, oh, I can pull from this skill set, and I know how to cope with this now. So the weird thing about yesterday with my little freak out is that I've been overwhelmed before. This is not the first time that my plate has just been so full that I haven't been able to just chill. And so, and I'm sitting here going, okay, what can I do to fix it? Now, in order to fix overwhelmed, there's a couple of things you have to do. You have to, one, know yourself. I know with me that if I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, then I'm not going to make it. I have to, I can do a marathon for so long, but if I'm trying to do a marathon for like a year and a half or something, that's not going to happen. But if I know I could do this for like another 4 months or 5 months, then it may really suck. It may just not be the best life ever for that 4 or 5 months. But if I really buckle down and get it done and focus on it and everything else, then get it knocked off my plate. So, I've also heard, I do a lot of self-development. It keeps me focused. It keeps me grounded, because there's, you'll hear these little tidbits and there'll be epiphanies. And to me, an epiphany is knowledge that you already knew in your soul. You just didn't know how to express. And one epiphany, I think it was Mel Robbins on one of her videos. She mentioned that procrastination is just a coping mechanism of stress. That's all it is. And I'd never heard it put that way. And it is a very good point. When you're overwhelmed, your mind is just pouring out. You can't do anything else. And you have this task that you don't like doing. And because you don't like it, it causes this stress and it causes this hot button with you. And so then you procrastinate on it. And then all of a sudden, this task gets bigger than it really is. I mean, it's maybe a 10-minute task. Maybe it's a 30-minute task. But you've now turned it into a week-long task, or you've turned it into a 3-week-long task just because you didn't want to cope with it. And so you have a couple options on those items that you're procrastinating. You can either just do it and get it off your plate and feel so much better about yourself. But if you are so stressed out to where you can't focus on it and you can't get to that point, hire out. Find a friend, a loved one, or actually hire somebody to do that task for you. One of my things is I will not do my own taxes. Taxes stress me out. I do a spreadsheet. I send it off to my person with all the information that she needs, and she does everything. And then I'm like, perfect. I don't want to have to sit here and go, okay, well, if you have online A1 and you have this number, add 2, divide by 4, I can't even go there. It's not my thing. So if I had to do my taxes, I would probably be in jail, because it would be for tax evading or something, because it would never get done. Or I would fill out the easiest form possible and owe so much more than I actually do, or not get, it wouldn't be a fair evaluation of what the taxes really would be, because I'd be like, okay, I made this much and here, just take it, because I don't want it. So it'd be one of the two. And so I hire out for that. I just let somebody else prepare my taxes. It takes off so much stress for me, but it is so a way for me to not get in that overwhelmed state. And so, but if you can't hire out for somebody, because there's some things you just can't get somebody else to do, I mean, then find a way to consolidate it. Find a way to simplify it. I am actually in the process of doing a lot more simplification. I try to take 5 minutes a day and go through a section. It may just be a shelf, it may be a drawer, it may be just, in my closet as I'm getting dressed in the morning, I realize, this doesn't fit me right anymore. This is not something I want, and I grab it, and I have a donation box sitting right in the kitchen, and I just put it right in there. And then when that box gets full, I just take it to Goodwill. And it will be a hodgepodge of everything. I mean, it could be a dish, it could be a dress, it could be a book, it could be, anything. But I just have a little box, and as I'm going through the house and I find something that it's causing me more mind clutter, it's causing me more stress, and it's just not what I need anymore, then I am just getting rid of them to get rid of that that mental inventory in your head. So my stress though was because work has been busy, school is busy, a toddler is busy, and I'm tired and I just need some fun. But the problem is that even if I were to take a vacation, there would still be too many to-do items on my desk or my list or in my mind that I wouldn't actually enjoy the time off anyway. So to me, that would be such a waste, which would then stress me out again. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been that stressed out to where you couldn't even relax if you tried? And in order for me to get to the point where I can relax, I know I've got to remove some items. And so what I did is I sat down and I just made a list. And I like to brain dump. I'll take a big piece of paper and I'll take like a Sharpie or a highlighter pen or something, and I'll just put like this project over here and this project over here and this project over here. And I can't get rid of work because I have to have a job to pay the bills and have running water and food on the table, etc., etc. And school is important. I need to get that finished, and because I've kind of procrastinated on that long enough. And I'm not getting rid of my toddler. I worked too hard to get that one. So, these are not things that I can just pawn off on somebody else or, do anything about. So what I did is I just said, okay, I'm going to use a block schedule, and this is what I'm going to do with my time. And I am going to say this, and this is going to be for school. And I'm going to have to window it off, and I'm going to have to treat it as a very important appointment. And then, of course, work has his own little block schedule. They say be here from here to here and get this much done. That's just a given. I have no control over that. And with my toddler, I'm going to, make sure that, I have to make sure that even with those 2 blocks, that she is still getting the love and attention and the care and the nurturing that she needs, in addition to these other things. But then I also have to find a block somewhere that is going to replenish me. And so I sat there and said, okay, what do I need to do? And one of the things that was really what I needed to do was get rid of school. Okay, I'm not going to quit school. That's not what that's about. But I'm going to accelerate it. I'm going to speed up and get things done a lot faster. In order for me to do that, I've got to make sure I get a good night's sleep so I can think through it and just zip it through. If I'm sleep deprived, if I'm not eating right, if I'm not taking care of myself, I am not going to be able to focus. And I'm going to have to hyper focus to do that goal. But that goal will then gives me that light at the end of the tunnel so that I can then, hopefully in the next 6 months, be done with that and moving on. And so when that falls off my plate, that opens up that block of time that I can then put to something else. So for me, in my overwhelmed state, it's better than saying, oh, you've got another year or whatever, because I don't know if I can run that marathon for a year. But I can tell myself I can run it for 6 months. Now, if it ends up taking me 8, okay. But I'm aiming for this. And if I get to that, then it's so much better than what it was originally. And sometimes we have to play that mind game with ourselves to get us focused on what we need and to really, reevaluate like our priorities. And because all this stuff is important, it's, if it wasn't, I'd just easily just dust it off the shelf, throw it in the trash bag, walk away. But it is important and it needs to be done. So, think about the things that you're procrastinating on. What can you truly just get rid of? Or what can you hire out? And then on the other things, think about how much time is this really going to take? And is there a time hack that you can implement for it? So like, and I YouTube, because YouTube is a great way to find information. In fact, it's one of the top search engines out there. If it's not the top one, I don't know if it's surpassed Google yet or not. But one lady said that what she does is she voice records in her app on her phone her paper that she's doing for college, because she can talk faster than she can type, and then it translates it in there, and then all she has to do is read through and do the editing and make sure everything is right, and she can write a paper in less time, the actual writing of it. And you still have to do the research, you still have to do all your references and get all that stuff done too, but she almost cuts it down in half by doing that. Great idea. How many times do we have 20 minutes that you can go, oh, I can talk about at least a page and a half on this app and get it done? So I'm researching that, trying to figure out that, because I'm not that tech savvy. But I'm going to figure it out, or I'm going to figure out something else that works for me. That may not be my solution, but it's a great start to a solution. So find out what you're procrastinating on. Are you making it more of a mental inventory for yourself than it needs to be? Can you hire it out? Can you get a friend, trade off with a friend? I mean, crap. There are people out there that love doing certain things and others don't. I have got friends that love doing their taxes. And so if I wasn't able to find somebody to actually, pay to do my taxes, then, but I mean, you can go to Walmart and they do the taxes right there on the lobby. I've never used that service, so I don't know. I just have used this lady for like 15 years, so I just go with her every year, and it's affordable, and it fits my budget, and it fits my life, and it works for me. But trade out, swap out tasks. If there is something you hate doing, then find somebody that likes to do that and something that they hate doing, and swap it out. I mean, if you're married, maybe you and your husband have that kind of relationship. One may hate cleaning the bathtub and the other one hates doing laundry, and so you swap those tasks out. It can be that simple, but figure out what you're procrastinating on. Decide how important it is. If you can just get rid of it completely, just remove it from your list. If you can simplify it, automate it somehow. A bill pay is a great way to automate. Instead of sitting down for 30 minutes and writing out checks or doing this or doing that, figure out a way to go paperless and have it automatically deducted from your account. That's an option. So, automate it, hire it out, swap out with a friend, get rid of it completely, or figure out a way to make it where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you can hyper focus for a shorter amount of time to actually get it done. There's just so much that, life is like that. And if you've ever been overwhelmed, you've made it through it before. Think about what you did then. How did you overcome being overwhelmed? Because that's where we get our training in life. That's where we learn how to cope. And whereas I've never been in this exact situation of being overwhelmed, I have had other moments of being overwhelmed. And I will tell you that none of them were life-threatening. I survived them all. And I'm going to survive this one too. I just had a moment. I just had a Gina moment, as I like to refer to them, because I kind of have a few of those. That's pretty common. I'm a very highly emotional person, so I tend to highly emotionalize everything. But, just remember that our experiences are what shape us and change us. But my constant prayer is that my experiences don't harden my heart. They don't make me mean or unloving or uncaring or numb or just completely not me. I still want to be me even if I'm going through these things. I still want to come out a better version of Gina after I've gone through this process. So I hope that I gave you some ideas of how you can cope with being overwhelmed, how you can cope with procrastination, how you can cope with stress. And, because it's not always easy, but you and you know what you need to do. And hey, if you want to just brainstorm, put it in the comments. I will brainstorm with you and see if we can come up with some solutions that might be better for you. You might be sitting on perfect solutions that you just have not thought of yet because you are so overwhelmed you can't think straight. Been there, done that. So, and I'd kind of be surprised if you haven't been there, done that before as well. So I really hope that you get some value out of today's video. I hope that you, are able to maybe come up with some solutions and get your stress under control, get your task under control, stop your procrastination, make your life happier. I mean, that's the one line in the Constitution that always got me, the pursuit of happiness. And I think sometimes we're pursuing it in a weird way. And for me, it's not about the new, shiny, bigger, better, whatever. It's about the fun and the freedom and the just being able to go, that's so much better. So, just enjoy chasing your sunsets. And like I said, comment below. I'll help you try to come up with a solution to how you can maximize your life and minimize your stress. And, because it's not fun being overwhelmed, and it's not fun having those mental breakdowns and those moments of anxiety. And, and if we live in that constant state, it can really affect your health as well. It can affect your sleep. It can affect your family members. And that is one thing I don't want, is I don't want my constant stress to affect my daughter. That's not fair to her. And so, but I really want her to be happy and carefree. And I want her to see me as somebody who can cope with what life hands me. And, it's okay if you jump when the lightning or the thunder strikes, but you just know that you can weather the thunderstorm, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. And so go chase your sunset and have a fabulous week. All right. And if you would, please, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the little like button and the little bell notification. Also share this with your friends. Maybe you have some friends that are just going through a really hard time right now, trying to figure out how to get their stress under control. And, and sometimes there is nothing we can do about it at that moment. And so sometimes just finding somebody that you can talk to is the only thing that you can do at that moment. But just know that everything is temporary. Nothing lasts forever. Even the good stuff, it doesn't last forever. Everything is constantly changing. And so all you have to do is weather that thunderstorm. And so just know that that is the case. So I would love to talk to y'all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a great week chasing your sunsets, and I will see you next time. Bye.